So the purpose of this video is to give you some body weight exercises if you don't have access to strength training equipment or conventional machines. We're going to look at 6 different exercises today. The main principle is we want to try to address all the big muscles of your body. So we're going to do that with these 6 different movements. I'm going to begin by addressing the lower body, which would be your upper legs and hips. We're going to show you how to do a standing wall squat to begin. All you need is a blank wall to perform this, or an empty wall, I should say. We're going to begin by taking a shoulder width stance a couple feet out from the wall. I'm going to have you squat down to a position that is close to a right angle. From this position, I want you just to place your hands on your shoulders, and we're going to attempt to hold it for 1 to 2 minutes. And so you could just count out loud in your head. You can put a watch on the floor. But this is certainly addressing the quadriceps, the hips, the hamstrings. You're getting a little bit of indirect work on the calves, but a 1-minute hold in this position can be very taxing and fatiguing and stimulating to those muscle groups. So I'm already feeling it in my legs. I'm only at about 25 to 30 seconds here. So try for 1 minute initially, and you may find you can do 1.5 minutes up to 2 minutes in this position. So this is exercise number 1. Once you're finished, we just slide back up. The other thing I'm going to invite you to do is a standing squat using a door as an anchor position. So I'm going to do it using this machine. If you had a door with doorknobs in front of you, you could very easily grab the doorknobs on each side. I'm just going to grab this machine, step back into this position, hips down, head neutral. I'm just going to drop my rear end down to the position where my legs are parallel with the floor. Very slow on this. Almost the same as that 10-10 speed. I'm only going to have you go up about halfway, right about here. If I go too far up to this position, it gets very easy. I'm actually resting. So I want you to go about halfway and then stretch down until, again, your leg is about parallel with the floor. Very slow and controlled right here, and then right back up. Very slow and easy. So this is about a 4 to 5 second lift, a 4 to 5 second lowering of your body. I would suggest 8 to 12 repetitions of this exercise following that wall squat. The 2 of those together will provide a pretty productive stimulus to the hips as well as the upper legs. So that's your lower body. It's that simple. 2 movements, 2 exercises, very quick, very efficient. Let's talk about your upper body for a second. Let me go over to the middle of the studio and show you 2 simple movements here. The first one is going to be a conventional push-up. And so there's a couple ways to do this. Most men can do this exercise by lifting off of their feet and their hands. So I would recommend a slightly shoulder width position with the hands slightly wider than the shoulders, and then up on your feet. And I'm just going to go down with my elbows out. I'm going to take about 3 to 4 seconds to come down, touch my nose, and then push up with that same slow speed. Again, I'm going to suggest about 8 to 12 repetitions like this. What you can do is, if this is too difficult, just go up faster. So you're stronger on the way down. I can come down in 3 to 4 seconds, touch my nose, and go up a little faster. That makes it a little easier if you're not strong enough to go slower. So we can change the speed, make it a little more doable. 8 to 12 repetitions performing that. For women, they can go off their knees. If their upper body isn't as strong, they can work off their knees. So I'm just going to bring my feet together like this. I'm going to do the same movement, shoulder width grip, down, touch in 4, push back up in 4. Still demanding movement, good for people who don't have as much upper body strength. And again, you can go faster if you find that that's too challenging. So again, 8 to 12 repetitions to a high level of muscle fatigue. 1 set will be sufficient. What you can follow that up with is a static push-up. So again, we do this in the studio with different exercises. You can simply get into your start position again and come halfway down, get right into this position, and just hold it for 15 to 30 seconds. If you're strong enough, you can hold it up to a minute, but this is a very taxing, very fatiguing, very stimulating movement. Then once you're done, just kind of relax into that bottom position. The other thing you can do at the end of your push-ups are negative only, where you only lower your weight. So this looks like starting in the top and coming down slow. Taking anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds just to lower your body. You're stronger as you go down, so you can usually do more of these. So there's one, come back up. So I'm not pushing myself up, I'm just lowering my body. This is a great way to build and maintain strength, just like this. So you can always add that to the end of your push-up set where you simply lower your body. So now I've got the shoulders, chest, tricep, upper body. Now, the other one I can do is a back exercise. I'm going to show you that against the wall real quick. Let's show you this. In an ideal world, I would have some equipment to work my back. It's hard to work your back if you don't have some equipment. So probably the perfect machine is what we would describe as a pullover machine, where you have pads behind your elbows and you're pushing through like this, sort of a combination of a pull down and a row, and you drive your elbows back. Great back exercise. A good way to do that in a static fashion is just to get into that wall squat position, bring your elbows up against the wall. You're just gonna push your elbows back into the wall. So you're driving your elbows back. It's kind of like the old isometrics. Pushing back as hard as I can go, 30 to 60 seconds, just driving those elbows back. You will feel this in your back. You also feel it in the back of your arms. So this is, again, a great way to get the big muscles of your upper back and just relax. So you could do 1 to 2 sets like that depending upon how hard you're pushing yourself. That's my back and my shoulders. Last exercise, something for the trunk. Let's just show you what a very simple floor crunch would look like. If we go back to that pad, this is very much like the abdominal crunch we do here in the studio. What I would suggest is just positioning yourself in a comfortable position, grabbing your shoulders just like we do on the abdominal crunch, and then just curling your torso, pushing your spine down into the floor and crunching up until about right here. Hold it for a second and then come down slowly. This again can be a 5 to 10 second stretch down. Touch your head lightly but don't stop, and then slowly crunch back up, 5 to 10 seconds up as far as you can go, pushing your spine into the floor. Hold it for a second or two and then stretch right back down all the way to the bottom. So even those simple movements can be taxing and stimulating to your muscular system. So again, the rule of thumb here, you're traveling, you're busy, you're somewhere where you don't have equipment, we need to keep it simple, keep it very efficient. You could do this simple 7 to 10 minute routine 2 or 3 days a week. We normally recommend 2 if you have equipment and you're